Ready. Play.
40-30 here. Okay. Long on the first serve. So match point number 4, because of course she's already had 2 on the Coco serve, and she had 40-15 minutes. Now 40-30. So second serve here. Iga Swiatek.
Which way is she going to go?
She's going to go down the tee, I think, to that forehand, you would imagine. Yes, she does. Forehand return. Forehand from Iga's. Bit short. Oh, she can't punish it. Iga Swiatek into her 4th French Open final. She beats Coco Gauff 6-2, 6-4. There will be sort of some disappointment from Coco, both in her performance, but also that controversial moment, which I'll probably get Damien's thoughts on a little bit later. But first of all, Damien, tell us about Iga's performance today. I mean, I'm not sure if it was quite from the absolute elite level that Iga is capable of producing, but it was enough, wasn't it?
I think it was just middling, honestly.
Yeah.
It was perfectly okay, obviously, but there was this patch at the beginning of the second set when she suddenly can't put a backhand into the court. But yeah, I mean, it was just efficient, I guess. There definitely was like a lot of intent from Coco to dictate, especially in the first set. So that also kind of like takes the spotlight away from Swiatek in a way. You know, she didn't really get a chance to like shine here. I don't know if she would have if she got. But yeah, certainly it's just more important to win rather than this was some performance that like in 10 years we're going to be mentioning as one of the best matches of her career. No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
She didn't have to play like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie, Coco, some disappointment from her side, the line call I touched on, but also maybe, you know, because Iga's level was a little bit lower, I think that there was certainly a third set there for her. I talked about some of those forehand returns. I mean, the forehand I feel is a bit too easy for. It's a bit late. It's almost falling into the lazy journalism category of where it's just easy for us to highlight it, but it's kind of difficult to avoid it once again, right?
I mean, yeah, she obviously was trying to go for a lot more in this match, and when you say it's easy to go for, I mean, it's just the reality. I mean, she made so many winners on that backhand side. It's just, but I mean, we're going to get the interview here now, but yeah, whenever she was going big on that forehand, it just wasn't working, and she probably needs to be in this kind of matchup if she's going to be aggressive. So
I'm going to come to you again in a second, Damien, just to see what she has to say.
Yeah, I'm sure it was intense. In the second set, kind of tight because we were breaking each other. But I'm happy that I just, consistent and
aber meine Taktik hat gut funktioniert.
just went for it at the end.
Ich bin echt draufgegangen, es hat funktioniert.
Obviously, he's younger than you.
So,
You played
Coco
very
ist
well a couple
jünger
of years ago in
als
the
du.
finals. A few words
Das gegen sie ja schon mal gespielt. Sag mal ein bisschen was über sie vielleicht, über deine
Well, I
Gegnerin.
think she's progressing a lot, you know.
Sie verbessert sich ja
Getting
ständig.
better results.
Okay, she's progressing a lot, but obviously there's a bit of German translation. That's not always the case. But okay, Damien, for me again, it's quite similar. That the scoreline's different. It wasn't quite so much intrigue over the first set that we had in Rome, and also the match that they had in Paris a year ago. But for me, the match was quite similar in that I think she tried to just bring it to Iga as much as she could in the first set, hoping to hang with her, and then you never know. She just couldn't hang on as well as she did in Paris a year ago because she lost her serve in the first game and was always playing catch up from that moment onwards.
I don't know. I mean, she definitely approached the match completely different than Paris last year. It was just like kamikaze style aggression, which sure, I mean, it works for Alexandrova, it works for Ostapenko against Swiatek, but you gotta like be in your comfort zone if you're playing it, at least to an extent, you know, especially in slower conditions. So I think that was a bit misguided. I've seen a lot of contrasting takes on this on Twitter, but like to me, that's, you know, you cannot really expect to beat Swiatek like this if this is totally not your game. But there were still moments when she could have like still kept it closer. Obviously, there was this one ridiculously wild forehand on breakpoint down at 1-2. Then you kind of just expect Iga to steamroll because we know what sort of front runner she is. And I do think that Gauff had a lot more success in the second set, sort of, playing it more like Paris 2023 first set style, you know, just playing it more like focusing on her own strengths rather than Iga's weaknesses, trying to again like reset the points and actually sort of take over in her own manner, something that she's fine with. And it was a better attempt. It was still not particularly close, not from 1-3 down at least. But I do think that was a little better. But yeah, overall, I mean, there's just not much that she could have done today, really.
Yeah, right. The thing is, the head-to-head, it's just more and more grueling and more difficult for Coco fans to read, because it is, I think now it's 11-1, is it? Is it 11-1? Am I right on that? Is it 12-1? 11-1. And those 11 wins have been all straight sets. I'm not sure how many tie breaks there have been, but I don't think there's been many in that 11, so there'll be 22 sets going the way of Iga. And of course, the one match that didn't go her way was the semi-final. I think it was in Cincinnati, or quarterfinal last year. I'm not sure which of those two it was, but that was super close and could have gone either way. But yeah, I do think we're still not far away from the territory we were a couple of weeks ago when I think Arina Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina on their day, in the right circumstances, even on clay, as we've seen in Madrid and in Stuttgart, they can beat Iga Swiatek. I just don't see that with Coco Gauff, and that's where we're at. Now, Coco is world number 2, and she's justifiably there for an incredible level of consistency from post-Wimbledon onwards, and that's how the calendar is. But do you want to be in a situation where you're making the semi-finals of every tournament? And to be honest with you, this tournament is par for me for Coco. I had her getting to the semi-finals because I looked at her draw and I couldn't really see her losing to anyone, including Ons Jabeur in the previous round. Now, maybe I'm focusing a bit on the wrong thing here, but because she is world number 2 and Iga Swiatek is into her 4th French Open final, and she'll be the heavy favorite, won't she, in that final, Eddie?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, regardless of who she plays. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say who would be a better matchup for her, but
I think she'd rather play Paolini. If I was a Coco fan, I'd probably be thinking Paolini, because there's just it's a bit more predictable, maybe.
Yeah. On the other hand, you could just see maybe Andreeva just sort of, although she doesn't necessarily seem like the type. She's only 17, but she might, obviously being in the first slam, she might get overwhelmed a little bit. But first slam final. But yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, well, maybe there's a little bit more unpredictability with Andreeva in the final. So, and obviously, it's a nice story as well. But yeah.
What do you think, Damien?
What was the question again? Because I kind of got lost.
Which of the two players do you think might cause Iga a few more troubles?
Iga. Okay, yeah, because Eddie started talking about Gauff, and I was like, okay, Gauff is out of the.
Oh, in the chat, yeah.
But never mind. Basically, I think Iga would kind of relish this opportunity against either player. Muchova last year was also a first-time slam finalist, obviously. But Muchova had deep runs at all the slams. Basically, that's how she made her name, by performing well at these events. For Andreeva and Paolini, this is way more out of the blue, even if at some point we were just expecting that Mirra would do it. Probably not now, though. And I think that either will probably be pretty tired. But yeah, I do definitely subscribe to that opinion that Paolini is just a bit more predictable. There's not going to be that much coming with her racket. She packs a good punch. She moves well. She definitely can counter. She can attack, but there's not that much that will surprise you there. So maybe Andreeva is tougher, but I generally don't seem to think that either player will be tough at all. Ashley Iga has not played Andreeva, but as John is showing you on the screen right now, she has played Paolini. I honestly don't remember when these matches happened, but that was not that recently, right?
2022, 2018 in Prague, 2018, and the first round of the US Open in 2022, which in many ways feels a while ago as well. I mean, the first round.
That was 2022 was already the Swiatek of today. 2022 was not the Jasmine Paolini of today. But yeah, not in either case. I'm just not expecting a close final at all. if I'm surprised, if the match is competitive, I'm only going to be happy about it. But yeah, I think we lost the chance to have a competitive final when both Rybakina and Sabalenka went out. And
Yeah.
when Swiatek didn't lose today, I suppose.
Yeah, or even something happened today. Damien, that point, I'm still very confused by it. I've got the TV down. I'm probably talking to Eddie about going out for a drink with Lloyd Harris. But why was that ball not? Basically, I think there's a serve from Iga, which I think lands out, and Coco puts her racket on it. But I don't understand why it wasn't called out. It was a serve. Do you know the point I'm talking about?
It was corrected the call was corrected to in.
Oh, so it was called out. Ah,
Yes.
okay. So it's called out.
So as usual, the dilemma is whether the correction,
Yeah.
well, sorry, not whether the correction, but whether the call came before Coco hit her shot. On Twitter, I've seen a lot of people saying that definitely the call came first. I don't know what these people are watching. I rewinded it, and to me, it's nuts. Like, to me, it's definitely after she hits that. But obviously, I'm not blaming either Coco or Litourd in this case, really, because these calls are usually some of the toughest. Just in real time, it's so hard to tell what came first. To me, the call was okay. Seems like the majority thinks that it was actually wrong. But yeah, unless we get video review with these calls, we will really never know.
Yeah. Obviously, she got a bit emotional at that point, but in fact, that game she
took the
ends up.
game, so yeah. So
No,
in
yes,
the end, I don't think we can really.
no,
Yeah,
is that
it
did
was
she
1-2.
break that?
Yeah, she
Was that-
broke. She ended up breaking. Yeah.
Yeah, she
Okay,
broke in
yeah,
that game. So in the end, we're not really gonna.
She couldn't hold on though. She just immediately got broken
Well,
back.
it's not the chair umpire, Ghosty. It's the line umpire who called out, but the call was corrected. So
yeah, indeed, yeah. All right, well, I think we're done there. Unless you've got any final comments to make, Eddie.
No, well, I'm just yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to see who gets through, and yeah, I'm not expecting too much in the final, but well, hopefully, maybe as I say, like Andreeva's maybe a little bit more unpredictable. Maybe she can surprise us. Tennis sometimes gives us surprises. So
yeah, but I did think that day when Iga beat Naomi Osaka, and I think there was 1 point, or was it 2 match points that Osaka had? She was certainly served. Just the one, was it? Okay. But she was so close to the finish line. I think she may have also had love 30 on the Iga serve at 2-5. I'm not sure, but I think that was the case. There were so many moments when she was that close to going over the finish line, and I thought, well, that might be as close as Iga gets to going out, even in terms of sets, because I don't think she dropped a set since then. And well, she's not lost that many games either. So she'll be in pretty good nick when it comes to physical stuff for tomorrow. For Saturday when the final, of course, happens. And of course, make sure you stay with us. Give Eddie a follow. Do it on Twitter, but maybe not Instagram, at Tennis Asia TV, is it, Eddie?
yeah, YouTube as well, Tennis Asia TV. Yeah.
YouTube as well. I mean, you can find him on Instagram. You just have to wait because, like everyone else, he's in the sin bin at the moment, and he's got to sit out a ban because he had the temerity of showing a nice little bit of video that was taken from inside the stadium by a friend, not anyone else, but the Instagram and the powers that be have decided to stop him from spreading the tennis word for a couple of days at least. But yeah, make sure you give him a follow at Damien Kust as well on Twitter for whatever tennis content you want. And to everybody else, we'll see you in a few minutes for the second women's semi-final, which will be me and maybe some company, but definitely me, for Mida Andreeva against Jasmine Paolini. And it's been great to talk tennis with you guys once again after a enforced suspension. We're back, and I'll speak to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.